So that I thought that was really cool for him to kind of step outside, do more of an indie kind of film, and really show his acting chops to the extreme. But he is not the star of this film. In a sense, he is the leading man, but he does not have the breakout performance. What's going on? Jim Alexander here with Real Talker. I am the Real Talker. Today, I am talking to you about the new release of the Apple TV movie Palmer, starring Justin Timberlake. So does Timberlake bring his star persona, star appeal, charisma to the role and make this movie better than the script itself? Does Justin Timberlake hold on to the script and make it move forward? Well, I'm about to tell you all about it and more, and if Palmer is a movie you should see. But first, check out this trailer for Palmer.
I'm glad you're back. I imagine it's going to take some time getting used to. You just got to get yourself back out there.
Palmer, you were All-USA player 2 years in a row at Riverside?
Yes, sir. A whole lot's changed.
That boy, that's Sam. His mama took off. He'll be staying with us till she's back.
You know you're a boy, right?
Yeah.
In the hours that I've known.
Do you know when my mama's coming back?
He's gonna have to go in the system.
There's something seriously wrong with that kid.
Would you set me free?
How did you end up in prison?
Don't matter. I did what I did.
All right, so that was Palmer. You got a good glimpse, an idea of what it's about. As you can tell, Justin Timberlake kind of plays this rugged country boy in a sense, very unlike Justin Timberlake. For those of you who follow the pop sensation, the music legend that he is, and the hell of an actor that he is. This is definitely a different kind of role for him. Palmer is a film basically about ex-convict who comes back to his hometown, who's ready to kind of start over with his life. And he basically comes across and, in a sense, is connected with this young boy named Sam, played by Ryder Allen, a newcomer who's fantastic in this role. And their kind of relationship begins to form and bond, and it's like a cool fatherly chaperone, big brother sort of relationship that we see develop throughout the movie. And I will be giving away some spoilers at the end, but the breakdown of this we're going to be going into. So the plot of the film, that's what we're going to talk about first, and what it's about, what you can expect to see in Palmer. Then we're going to take a look at the actors and how they did in their roles. Then I'm going to tell you about some observations and takeaways from the movie. And of course, should you see this film? And of course, surprises along the way, some rumors, and more so about the movie that I'll let you in on. I did speak to the director of the film, Fisher Stevens, so I might let in a few snippets from that. And of course, we will also give away some spoilers here. I'll give away a time where you can expect that, so you don't want it spoiled, you don't have to get it. But let's start out with the movie itself. So as I went into it, it's about an ex-convict who befriends this boy. They are brought together in a sense when Justin Timberlake's character Palmer, Eddie Palmer, but his name just Palmer in a movie. June Squibb is kind of the uniter here. Her name is Vivian. She's the grandmother of Palmer, and she's kind of looking after this boy, Sam, this young kid played by Ryder Allen. So that's how Palmer and him come across each other. They're basically living under Vivian's roof, under her watchful eye. But spoiler alert, and it's not much of a spoiler because it's kind of given away really quickly, but tune out in the next 10 seconds or so if you don't want to hear it. Vivian passes away unexpectedly, and then Palmer is kind of left with Sam. And does he take care of the boy? The boy has a mother. She's played by Juno Temple, named Shelley. She's a major kind of train wreck. I mean, she's kind of a druggie and just a mess in every sense. And she's unfit to take care of this boy, but the community kind of looks over Sam. And the unique thing about Sam that we get to know is that the film presents there's a lot of messages in this movie in a lot of ways, and a lot of societal commentary. So the boy Sam, he basically dresses up as a girl. He plays with dolls. So there you can basically kind of see that in a town like that, in a small country town in the South, that's usually something that's frowned upon, not looked at in a positive manner. Just these old school beliefs, outdated things. So this boy gets a lot of grief and bullying because of who he is and the way he kind of likes to live his life. In a sense, he doesn't know any better. His mom, the one thing that's redeeming about Shelley is that she kind of allows Sam to be who he wants to be, for him to be able to play with dolls, dress, as a girl in a lot of ways, wear dresses to school. So there's that big kind of weight of the movie, in a sense, is this ruggedy, tough ex-convict, in Palmer. And here he is with this boy who's got, obviously he's figuring out his gender role in society, what he wants to be, who he is. I mean, he's a young boy, but just he's comfortable in his skin, as you can see the portrayal of Sam. So there's a big question of gender. Is a boy supposed to act like a boy? Is a boy playing a girl? Not playing a girl. Since he is a boy in a movie, and he realizes that, because you see Palmer's character mention him, you're a boy, and Sam responds yes. So he's aware he's a boy. He just prefers to play with dolls and dress as a girl. That's just a kid being a kid and being himself. But he gets, like I said, a lot of bullying from his schoolmates and even worse, adults in a community. So that's the big storyline here. Is Palmer going to take in this boy? Are they going to form a bond? Is he going to be his father figure in a sense? So it's a drama at its core in so many ways. Now, how did the actors do? I think Justin Timberlake was phenomenal. I really think this is a different kind of role. He doesn't play a badass or cool dude. He just plays this kind of a everyday man from the South who doesn't have much in his life at all. Technically, he has no parents. They both died. Vivian's gone, and he really doesn't have much. He comes back to his community that he grew up in, but everyone's married, or his friends are at different stages in life, in a lot of ways, with kids and families, and he's really starting over. So Justin Timberlake kind of wearing jeans, and you don't see him in like the scruffy beard that he has, and a lot of times somewhat unrecognizable baseball cap. It's not the Justin Timberlake we see with the paparazzi take pictures of, the cool, like, badass that he kind of is. It's just a very more grounded and subdued character that he plays here, and he does a wonderful job. I really like this performance in a sense, but also Justin doing something against his type in a lot of ways. I mean, he's done a lot of different films, and I guess the most similar thing to it would be Alpha Dog in a sense. He just kind of that gritty character, and kind of a bad boy in a sense. But even though in this film, his character, seemingly we find out throughout the movie what is the crime that he did that he went away for, which isn't that important to the story. Technically, it's a mystery that kind of surrounds the movie, but it's not that important story in the overall context of it. But I like Justin Timberlake, what he did here. He shows a lot of depth, a lot of emotion. shows vulnerability in a lot of ways too. So that I thought that was really cool for him to kind of step outside, do more of an indie kind of film, and really show his acting chops to the extreme. But he is not the star of this film. In a sense, he is the leading man, but he does not have the breakout performance. It goes to Ryder Allen. Like I said, this kid who plays Sam, he is a newcomer to the industry. I think he might have like one credit prior on a TV show, just a guest appearance or whatnot. But this is his first real film. This is his first real role. And he is an absolute pro. The kid is so incredibly charming playing Sam. You can't help just to love the character and the boy. Like, you just want to give him a hug throughout the movie. He just brings so much life to him and such innocence, but also such wisdom for such a young kid who's put in such a terrible situation, not only by the people in the neighborhood, but with his mom being in and out of his life and not really having anyone for him there. Here's a boy trying to discover his way, discover really his meaning in life and his place in life and who he wants to be, you know, and who he identifies himself as. And I think just Ryder Allen knocks it out of the park. It is a tremendous performance. It's one of the best young performances from a young actor I've seen in over a year. I just think it's incredible the way he does it. I kind of liken it to, in a sense, where you drawn to like a child actor, in a sense where you can just feel so much for them, is Jonathan Lipinski and Lipinski, I think. Jeez. Or no, that's her. Jonathan, the little kid from, basically what I'm trying to say, the little kid from Jerry Maguire. He was that really a character that you think about. It's a young boy that kind of steals the movie, steals the scenes. And Ryder Allen does this in this movie. I just think the pairing of him and Justin Timberlake was just spot on. Tremendous performance from both of them. And you really kind of feel the heart of the movie in how they portray it. I feel like if they cast each one differently, if Ryder wasn't cast for the role of Sam or Justin wasn't, this movie would have been a very different movie. I just think their performances are the heart and core of this film. Also to mention, we see June Squibb for a bit, and she's fantastic, as many of you know. June Squibb is a legendary actress in a sense. You know, it's been around for a long time and accomplished a lot. Also, not to be forgotten here, Alicia Wainwright plays Sam's teacher at school and kind of a love interest to Palmer, and she's phenomenal. Alicia's just great. She's got this nurturing side. It really shows the best of what teachers are and how much of an impact they can have on young students, especially those who are trying to discover themselves and you know, kind of identify who they are. And she's just so loving and caring. She goes an extra mile, although sometimes it makes me think like she shows up at Palmer's place and, you know, it's like she's going overboard at times with the teacher line versus the friend and mentor or guardian almost, and chaperone kind of line, where it's like, I don't know how maybe it's in the South, it's different. The communities, everyone knows each other. So that's more normal for a teacher to just pop into your home and kind of say hi and hang out and cook lunch and for their student and just have that kind of a family-like relationship. I know to like places outside of small towns, like bigger cities, it would be kind of weird. Like, why is my teacher at my house cooking dinner and staying for dinner and like popping in every day? So that kind of dynamic might throw you off a bit, but it's all done in an innocent and really kind and loving way in the story. So just really good performances. And director Fisher Stevens, who's got over 100 credits of acting. So he's an actor turned director who also has a good amount of credits directing too, just does a really good job in this film. And I think he understood these characters because just being an actor himself for all these years, he's worked on a ton of Wes Anderson films. And I think he understood the importance to let the characters and these actors bring the story to life instead of the script itself. I think that's a major selling of this point, and that goes into my observation. Observation is that the characters are the heart of the story. They sell the story. as I mentioned, different casting could have totally changed the dynamic of this film. I just think it's a wonderful cast that really brings out the heart of this film. Sure, is it a little bit sappy at times? Yes, but I also thought this story could have been realistic. It could have happened or may happen in real life. It's not a totally far-fetched story by any means. Like, I'm certain there's stories of these characters, of people like Palmer, of kids like Sam, of teachers like Miss Maggie, who's played by Alicia Wainwright, and whose mothers are like Shelley, played by Juno Temple. These are all realistic sort of people and situations. So I thought that was really well done. Sure, it's more done in a happy way. The bumps along the road that are brought there's definitely difficulties at all times that these characters endure, but it's set up to be a kind of leave you feeling good right throughout the movie and what's happening. I wouldn't say it's like dreary and depressing. I think it's more upbeat, even though the situation doesn't call for itself. So that's an observation in that self and the takeaway that I have, that the characters are the heart of this film. And another thing that might be thrown off to some of you, it's kind of a slow evolving story. It's not fast paced and a lot doesn't happen quick. It builds and it builds and it builds, but it's worth the wait throughout. So those of you that might be a little bit impatient or want to see gratification instantly or quickly, this movie takes some time to unwind, and you might not have it immediately or as quickly as you like to. So keep that in mind going into this movie, that it's almost 2 hours long. So you're going to have to wait along the way for things to kind of develop and come to fruition in that sense. But it's worth the wait in that way. Now, should you see this movie? Absolutely. I think it's really good in a lot of ways. I just think it has tremendous performances. It makes you feel good. It's one of these stories where it's like you've got to bring some tissues because you might be crying at a few simple points, especially the way that Ryder Allen makes Sam such a lovable character, but you also feel so much hurt and pain for this boy that doesn't have a proper parental figures, it doesn't have a good example in his life, and what he's dealing with just his identity, his sexuality in all these ways, and he's just such a little kid, and he's so innocent but yet so smart at the same time, and he's a boy that's a child but also has a lot of maturity and understanding in a lot of ways, more so than his mother, who's an adult. So there's that to say for it. And I think that's a redeeming thing about this film. And I think it's a feel-good movie. I believe that it'll make you feel good and it'll make you feel emotions. And that's usually an important part. You want to feel things watching a movie, right? And this movie will definitely make you feel that way. So fantastic job by the director, Fisher Stevens, who just really nails it. Cheryl Guerrero is the writer of the film, and as you will see, I have an interview coming up that I'll be posting soon with Fisher Stevens. He explains how Cheryl, and this is like my little behind the scenes sort of news and tidbits about the movie. Cheryl had a lot of personal experiences that contribute to these characters in her life. So there's that Fisher explains to me in the interview, so you can get a little bit more behind the scenes and in depth, as it also was Justin Timberlake the only option. Was he the option from the start? So check out that interview. I'll have the link up to it, and it's going to be on Real Talker. So find out more about the movie if you're interested in that aspect. But definitely see it. It's coming out on Apple TV. Must see, in a lot of ways. What today is... my watch is out. But yeah, it's coming out on the 29th of January. So make sure to check it out on Apple TV Plus. And it's one of the good ones. It's a great script, good movie, well directed. It's simple. It's not over the top. It's a simple small town. It's shot in a modest way. But what matters, like I said, once again, repeating myself. It's the characters, the story, the heart of the film. It will make you feel angry and sad and happy and joyous at all times. So spoiler wise, if you don't want to listen to it, you can tune out now. But I just want to say at the end, my thoughts on the spoilers in a sense, or what I expected to see. So Maggie clearly is romancing Palmer. That's pretty obvious at the end of their sexy hookup that they have. It's a pretty steamy scene too, in that way, intense. Oh yeah, and you get to see Justin Timberlake's ass. So for those of you looking for that, it's there. So I guess Stinkfisher Stevens, maybe, or Justin, who knows. But Miss Maggie and Palmer form a relationship, and then Vivian leaves her will and all her in a sense, her land, her home, most of her basically possessions and things she's owned goes to the church. So Palmer and Sam need to move out, right? They need to move out. And as you see also later on, finally Shelley gives away kind of the parenting to Palmer to look over young Sam. I'm guessing she signed over the legal guardianship, the papers for it, because we see Palmer kind of applying for that and looking into being a legal guardian for Sam. So I'm assuming that's what happens at the end, that she signs over because Palmer and Sam are moving out of the home because it's going to the church and the community. And in my mind, I'd like to think that they're moving in with Miss Maggie. And they're going to be kind of a little family, you know, and living together. But check out Fisher's take on that. He kind of agrees and disagrees. There's a few versions of that. So in that interview, he kind of explains where the story goes, in case you were wondering at the end. But it's a feel-good ending. That's what kind of matters at the end too. So if you don't want to see the spoiler, sorry, but still check out the movie no matter what. If you didn't see the spoiler, cool. January 29th, Apple TV Plus. Palmer is the movie. My ratings coming down. You will see that in the article, but off the top of my head, it's probably going to be right around 80%, 8 out of 10. I just think across the board, it's really good in a lot of aspects. As I mentioned, few negatives, but about maybe the pacing and the lack of action for some of you. And maybe, you always get a romance in some story. So the Miss Maggie Palmer angle was kind of predictable in that sense. But overall, really, really good movie, and a movie that I think is important, especially because it has a lot of messages in it. And the messages are about gender identity. It's about sexuality. It's about second chances for people who commit crimes and try to start off a fresh new slate in life. And you kind of see it through Palmer, and really, I guess, the romantic aspect and just legal guardianship and, parenting and how some kids are in such bad situations. I think this movie covers a lot of these topics. And that's what I appreciate about it in so many ways. It's just that it hits messages that are resounding and are true to life and society. And they accomplish that with Palmer. So check it out. Worth a check. It's a good movie. And I'm out. Stay tuned for my next review. And make sure to subscribe. Subscribe down below. Click on the subscribe button. I appreciate all of you that are checking this out and checking out my interviews. Like it, comment. I want to hear your thoughts on it. What did you think about Palmer? Are you excited about the film? Those of you who will see it, let me know if you agree or disagree. Let's have a conversation about it. And check out my interview with Fisher Stevens also. So for now, I'm out. See you guys.